Yo, Karla Frätta. My name is Arnoldur, and today I'm going to show you how to create HDR. HDR. That was really Icelandic. Alright, so with HDR photography, you're able to take photos like these and turn them into something like this. Pretty dope, right? So if you already know what HDR photography is, and you just want to see how to stitch photos together in Lightroom, you can jump to this minute right here. Or should we put it here? The rest of us, let's dive a little deeper into the subject for a minute or two. All right, so HDR stands for High Dynamic Range. And what dynamic range means is basically just the difference between the lightest of lights and the darkest of darks that you can capture inside a photo. The higher dynamic range your camera has, the more it's able to capture the darks and the lows in a single photo. However, it's very difficult for a camera to capture both ends of these spectrums at the same time in a single photo. You see, when you are exposing for the highlights, you need to make the image very dark in order to not blow them out. And in return, that would leave, the dark areas very, very, very dark. And you can easily see that in this image here. Basically no information. And it's vice versa if you are exposing for the shadows. Now you have to brighten up the image a lot in order to capture those shadows, but in return, your highlights will blow out. And you can see that here too. That's, ladies and gentlemen, is where HDR, eller HDR, like I said in Icelandic, that's where HDR photography comes into play. By taking a few different photos with a few different exposures and then stitching them together in a software like Lightroom, we can create a photo with high dynamic range, capturing both ends of the spectrum. Cool, right? Now this can be done with as little as 2 photos, but usually people use 3 photos, 6 photos, or 9 photos. But I used 5 here because that's, the automatic setting my drone has. It takes 5 pictures at the same time. All right, so now that you know what HDR photography stands for, then we'll dive into Lightroom and I'll show you how to stitch them together. It's very easy. But, we cannot watch the computers going without a little bit of glasses, so... And now I'll see you guys again. What up? All right, so welcome to Lightroom. Here we have the few different photos. They're all different exposure settings, as you can see. Now, if you wanna take them and create a high dynamic range photo like this here, where you have both ends of the spectrum, you basically just have to highlight them. So you can either do it here in the develop mode or in a library. And you go and you highlight all of them like this. So you just click it on it and then I hold in shift, click all. So I have all the 5 here. Then you right click, and you go to Photo Merge HDR. Or as you can see here, you can press Ctrl H. Now, click it and let Lightroom do its magic. Now it's gonna work a little bit to come up with the preview. And we just wait for a little moment. Maybe we can, Now here, Lightroom has come up with a preview. And I usually just have auto align, auto settings, and then in the deghost, it depends on what I'm shooting. So ghosting is a problem we can face with HDR photography when we are stitching images together and it looks like this, or it can even look like this. And it happens because when we are bracketing images, we are taking them not exactly at the same second. So objects that are moving, you're photographing a moving object 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. So it tends to move a little bit. And then when you stitch them all together, sometimes the program can have a hard time and it makes like a ghost trail and it's not so pleasing. It's easily fixed in Lightroom. You just have to click how much deghosting you want to do and it depends on how much movement is in your picture. And once you've done that, you just click merge and bah, you're finished. And now you're left with a photo like this and as you can see, we have so much more information in both the highlights and the shadows at the same time because we stitched together 5 images with different exposure settings. This is beautiful, right? And if you go to develop, now we can start to manipulate this how you like. You can take up the shadows a little bit. I often like to mess with the colors, all that stuff. If you want to see how to use the HDR slider, I'll link it up here. And I don't know why I always do that. It's something that we do together. And yeah, so that's basically it. That's how you create the HDR photo. You stitch them together like that. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask in comments down below. I'll promise I'll do my very best to answer. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next video about. Peace.